Well, thanks for having me. And I loved watching the video with Peter Schiff. I love to hear him talk because he gets it. Well, just the biggest thing is that BRICS has really banded together to now control 81.5% of the world's countries.
Wow.
And what they're doing is they're getting people to, or they're going away from the U.S. dollar. They're going to authorize this new BRICS payment system that's going to be announced between the 22nd and 24th of this month.
Right.
And I think that's what all of the gathering of the gold that China's been doing and Russia's been doing all year. I think that's the reason why it's gone up. And it's just as you said, and like Peter Schiff said, it's just been going up slow and steady. And it's been really great to see silver go from like $18.50 an ounce in November to like $31 an ounce today. And gold is up $800 an ounce in the last year, which is just amazing. And it really is only the beginning. And people don't get it. Like I was at a restaurant a couple of weeks ago and talking with the person at the table next to us who was visiting from Saudi Arabia on business. He knew about BRICS. He knew about everything.
Right.
He asked me, where do you think gold will go? I said, $3,000 an ounce. And he said, no way. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? The trend is so apparent that that's where it's going, but people don't get it. But once they do, in that $3,000 to $4,000 range, like Peter Schiff said, right, it's going to blast off. And that's when everybody's going to learn about it and finally take those first steps. It's better to do it before that rush. Well, they have been. We're seeing record amounts of people reach out that are asking questions about how to roll over a 401k or an IRA into a precious metals IRA that holds real physical silver and gold in a third-party depository. And we help people do this on a regular basis. We get the accounts open in about 2 weeks. It's not a taxable event at all. And one of the biggest questions that people are asking about, because they live off of their retirement accounts. And
right,
that's why you set it up in the first place, right? So if you need to take a distribution, you can take a distribution out of a precious metals IRA. We can do two things. We either leave some cash in it so that when you need to pull funds out, that the cash is there, or you can sell us back a portion of the gold and or silver, and then we just send the funds right back into your IRA account, and then you get the distribution from the IRA custodian. We can get those done in less than a week. So it's actually a really great process. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. At this point, it seems like they're excluding United States from that. And I don't think we could be excluded from anything that big, but it will take a strong person like Donald Trump to get us right on track. And one of the things that I had heard him say in an interview last year is that the interviewer asked him what he would think if this event were to happen. What if the dollar was no longer the world's reserve currency? Right. And Donald Trump said if that happened, it would be devastating and it would be greater than losing any war. Right. So the dollar has been the most powerful currency for decades. And it's okay if we're not, as long as there's some new currency where we're not printing dollars out of thin air to get ourselves out of debt. Because when that happens, it creates hyperinflation and our dollars lose buying power and everything just tends to cost more. So we need to have something, go back to the basics and have something that's gold backed.
Right.
And then that way we could all be kept in check from printing dollars out of thin air to get us out of debt. If that happens, owning real gold and silver and other precious metals is not going to be bad. They're going to go up considerably. It's true. It's they've been doing it for years, but something changed this year in regard to that. It's so what happens is when people make a purchase from us, we send them an invoice, and that invoice has bank wire instructions, and we instruct the clients to go into the bank and send a wire transfer for the amount that's on the invoice. And oftentimes the bankers will say, "Oh, is this for cryptocurrency or is it for precious metals?" And if they hear yes to either of those, then they start telling you, "Oh, it's really not safe to do those types of investments. So I have to ask you a few questions on a questionnaire." And the first one is, "Do you know the company that you're buying from?" And then people say yes. And then they say, "Have you personally met the people from the company?" And you say, "Well, I haven't, but I feel like I know them." And they say, "Okay, well, how did you receive the bank wire instructions?" and you say email, and they go, oh, that's not good. So you should call the company right now, okay, and verify the bank wire instructions. And the bank is asking people to do this because they know there's a 50-50 chance that we can answer the phone. I mean, we're on the phone all day long. So what do I do if I'm on the phone now and you're calling to verify funds and speak with me? If I don't answer, then the bank goes, well, there you go. They're not a real company because they didn't answer the phone. And then the questions go on. There's like 7 more of them. But the questions are sort of like this. Once we send the wire transfer, do you understand that there's no way to be able to retrieve the funds? So they're basically planting the seed of doubt in your mind, trying to scare you out of it. They're acting like they're protecting you, but they're not protecting you. They realize that the banks are almost done. Everything's going completely digital. And if there's any doubt to that, then think about the branch of banks that you go to on a regular basis. Are they getting bigger, more fancy? Are they having a larger staff? No, they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. They want you to do everything online. They don't want you to go into a bank branch at all anymore. Really, the banks are almost done. This is and they know that. So they're fighting back. This year, they've gotten so tough and educated on how to scare people out of doing this. It happened with us this week with Amel. I know she's going to be watching this, and I just want to say thank you for your business. Thank you for being strong, because if you let the banks win this battle, then they've already won. You can't have to push back. And if you're not the type of personality that feels comfortable pushing back, then give us a call back and we'll give you another option on how to pay us. Maybe sending us a check is another way. Figure something out, but definitely communicate with us because we can help you get past it. Well, I see every single submission that comes. So if I see one where somebody says something like, I used to work for the government, I'm retired now, and I have a TSP retirement account, and I'm wondering, is this something that can be rolled over into a precious metals IRA? And I have 2 people here that also used to work for the government that understand exactly how to get those done faster than anybody else at the company. So I would funnel those over to these 2 people. If you have a 401k, and let's say you still work at the company where the 401k was originated at, oftentimes you cannot roll that over into a precious metals IRA, but there are times when you can. Like, for example, if you're over 59 and a half, there's a good chance that you can. So I have people that are 401k specialists here as well. And then there are people that have never bought gold and silver before, which Peter Schiff talked about earlier and on the video. And it's they're coming out of the woodwork. People understand that gold and silver are of great value right now, and they don't know the first thing about how to get started. And that's fine. It's by listening to this and reaching out to us, that's the first step in gaining the education necessary to make a good decision with your mind and not with your heart. Because when you're making an emotional decision, which everyone will be doing here when gold breaches $3,000 an ounce, it's going to be the herd mentality. Those people are going to make mistakes and choose the wrong companies or buy the wrong gold and or silver. So it makes sense to gain that education now, and we can help people provide that. Well, the process is really simple. It's just a 1-page application. And there's a couple of spaces on the application for beneficiaries or co-applicants that have beneficiary rights, which is really, really great. And there's so many reasons out there why it would be valuable for you to have off-site storage. It's not stored here. It's stored in a big depository that's in Delaware. So some of our clients live in Florida and some of the places that have been affected by hurricanes. And we always instruct people that if you're in one of those areas, put the bulk of what you have in gold and silver in the depository and just have a small amount at home in case of emergency. So if you were, say, in North Carolina in one of the affected areas, you're not worried about trying to get to an ATM or walk into a bank. You're just trying to figure out how you can get through this mess. And having some actual cash on hand is great. And having some gold and silver as a backup is great. I'm not sure that you want to have, an entire room full of it if you're in one of those areas, and the depository is a great option. If you needed to sell back some of it or all of it and it's in the depository, all you do is just let us know how much you need. We'll tell you what we're paying for each item. You fill out a form, or we fill out a form for you. You just sign it and send it back. You send it back, and then 2 days later, we have the product, and then we send you a wire either that day or the next day. It's done in way less than a week. It's so easy. Oh yeah, silver has great potential. It has a better chance to double or triple in price than gold does.
Right.
And I recommend silver anytime that someone is willing to park a few dollars there for not just a short period of time, but for a minimum of 2 to 5 years.
Right.
And I'm not suggesting that it would take 2 to 5 years for the price of silver to go up. It's just silver can have a 20% swing up and down. It happens all the time. So silver hit $32.99
Wow.
this week. It did.
Oh,
And
nice.
it went down like $1 within an hour of that happening. So what that means is the big banks out there took a short position on silver futures and pushed it back down.
Right,
But the thing is it's kind of like silver just keeps working its way higher and higher and higher. And I believe that once it breaks like $35 an ounce, it's really going to shoot up after that. Well, it's exactly about de-dollarizing the entire world, because we've had it set up here in the United States where other countries would buy things like oil from other countries using our currency, and that's no longer the case anymore. So it's time for us to pivot to a new way of paying for things. Here's an example. I'm a big sports fan, and I go to a lot of Dodger baseball games. The entire stadium at Dodger Stadium here in Los Angeles is cashless. You cannot, you can have a big wad of cash. You can't buy anything there.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you need to use your phone, and you use the different pay apps like Apple Pay, and that's how you pay for things. So we're already accustomed to paying that way to some degree. So if it were to completely change away from the point to where we're no longer carrying around paper currency or coins, which can be a little cumbersome sometimes for some of us that have been around for a while, we're used to it, but younger people, they don't want to do that. So if there's a gold-backed central bank digital currency or something better here in the United States, and if you're able to transact that way, and if it's better for our economy because we're not printing dollars out of thin air to send to other countries or to get ourselves out of debt, then it just seems like a very prudent thing to do. And just one last thing about that, if it is gold-backed, and that would explain why the other countries like Russia and China are buying record amounts of gold,
Right.
and then even now silver. I saw Vladimir Putin now is beefing up his silver reserves. Then it would just make sense to be in on the ground floor and own these metals before they shoot up in value. And just one final thing on that. We're fortunate when precious metals can go up in value, but that's only our secondary goal. Our primary goal is preservation of capital. So I can't say that enough. We're investing in gold and silver because gold and silver are a safe place outside of the centralized banking system to keep your hard assets. Well, fortunately for us, the gold and silver are quite abundant right now.
Great.
It's typically when they go up as quickly as they have been, that's because the demand is high and it's just not available. But it's available now, and really, like we've said before, if one billionaire out there were to tweet something like, say Elon Musk, for example, I'm buying as much silver right now as I can get my hands on.
Right.
That would evaporate the entire supply of silver that's available, like for the moment. It happens once or twice a year when, say, the U.S. Mint sells out of silver eagles. Then there's a big run on silver, and then there starts to be a 2 or 3 week delay before we can ship certain items. The premiums go higher, and people are perfectly happy to wait if you tell them ahead of time. But right now, there's no wait time, and the premiums are low. So low premium means when silver or gold start to go up in value, then you will be at some point profitable if you decide to sell, and that is our secondary goal. So it's a good time to buy right now. I always like to end on a positive note. We know everything's going to work out just fine, but it is our responsibility to protect everything that we've worked for, not just for us, but for our families. So I'm looking forward to meeting a bunch of you out there in Selma, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. It's just a few days away.